Ugh. 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 Oh, wait. I think I've done something interestingly wrong here. Oh, I was supposed to download the VOD from... Okay. Whoopsie daisy. And then I want to make sure... I'm so paranoid with this game. I'm so freaking paranoid with this game, and I need to make sure my audio isn't messed up. Because, like, that seagull squawking noise is driving me ill. So ill. Alright, I'm just gonna go, like, to channel here real quick. Make sure it's all... Okay. Uh... To be honest, I just need to be better at talking to the microphone, and then I should be fine. Okay. We're doing it. We're doing it. Holy smokes. Okay. So, we left off, we got to the island. And it took forever, the boat ride. It felt like it was, like, longer than the actual, like, the actual, bleh. The actual reading of the dialogue was supposed to be, like, an hour, but it was, like, 30 minutes, the boat ride. A large man in a tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guessed he was a servant of the Shiromiya head household.
Welcome home, milady. You were so late in returning that I began to worry.
Ah, thanks for caring. I hate her. This moron got so scared, we had to slow down. It was seriously annoying. Shut up! Someday, when the shoe's on the other foot, you'll remember this. Children. Well, he's 18. They're both 18, but regardless. At this rate, word'll spread for the whole family, and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Even without this, everyone would be talking about me because of that 6-year gap, but now I've given an even juicier topic. Damn it. Why does the Ishiramiya head family have to live on this isolated island? I feel like that'd be really expensive. In the meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our parents came up from inside the boat.
Ah, you must all be quite tired from your long trip. Madam, please allow me to assist you.
Ah, thank you. It's been a while, Goda-san. How are you?
Ah, thank you. I thank you for your concern. It's always my pleasure to serve.
Butler-kun, isn't this your first time meeting Goda-san? If I'm not mistaken, you were working here 6 years ago, right?
Indeed. So please, allow me to greet him for the first time. It is an honor to meet you, Butler-sama.
I'm pretty confident about my height, but you're huge. This is definitely our first meeting. I'd never hear. Dude's 5'11". He's not that tall. He ain't that tall. I'm 5'11". That's wild. This is definitely our first meeting. I'd never forget meeting a big guy like you. It's a pleasure. I'm Battler.
I was looking forward to meeting you.
I am Goda, your servant. I have been working for personally? I have been working for the Ishiramiya head family since the year before last. We would call that 2 years ago. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I need to get one of those mic stand thingies.
If there's anything you need.
Oh. Please, I'm sure he didn't say anything that was like particularly relevant to the plot, and that I'm totally fine. Koda-san, it's been some time.
It's been too long, George-sama. Allow me to assist you.
As usual.
You're a pro at welcoming your guests. If you ever need a job, just let me know, okay? I'd hire you any.
Oh, I think. Wait, I don't know. Like, what is it says he has a Kanto dialect. How is a Kanto dialect perceived? It's a southern accent. He has a southern accent. Okay.
As usual, you're pro at welcoming guests. If you ever need a job, just let me know, okay? I'd hire you anytime.
I'm doing the voices.
You do me too much honor. Please allow me to assist you, Hideyoshi-sama.
Goda-san then lent a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of a professional. He was very graceful, in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large size made him a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than the first impressions had led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtless worked at a similar job somewhere before. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. Can I pop out chat? I need to figure this out. I need the button that pops out chat, like, really bad. Am I really gonna allow myself to be worried about this? Wait, I'm just gonna do it like this. My eyes are so bad. That's the problem. So on the rare chance that somebody does chat here, I won't be able to read it. Okay. It was probably returning to its home port on Niijima. Niijima, I think it's Niijima. I don't know. The captain waved his hand in farewell. Maria conscientiously waved her hand back. Now that I think about it, that must be why I felt something out of place for a while now. Can't hear the cries of the seagulls. Seagulls? The birds? If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with their lively cries. Oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. Oh shit, I'm doing something wrong. I didn't even realize the whole thing was... Oh god, okay. That was really... Okay, that was only like that for like 2 minutes. My bad. Okay. Not scuffed. Okay. Yep. No problems. Okay. What's wrong, Battler-kun? Oh, this is his, younger aunt. Oh, Aunt Rosa. Nah. It's nothing, really. I was just thinking it's a bit lonely without the cries of the seagulls. Oh, wait, and, system. So we get this guy now. Servant Goda. A servant hired as a cook. He hasn't served his family long, but through his earlier jobs and previous experience, he has cultivated a talent for entertaining guests. Because of this, he's highly regarded as a servant. Okay, cool. I just think it's a bit lonely without the cries of the seagulls. My, that's true, now that you mention it. Even though they're always so noisy, today there isn't one to be seen.
Why no seagulls?
Maybe it's because seagulls are having a get-together somewhere too. Maria, did you want to see the seagulls?
Yeah, I wanted to see them.
Still, it's a bit strange if there isn't a single one around. Maybe Jessica grilled them all and ate them. Oh, wait, which one's Jessica again? Okay. I just had to remind myself. That's actually a very useful thing to have.
The hell! Don't say disturbing stuff like that! You'll get Maria believing it! Yeah! Jessica Oni-chan grilled them! Jessica Oni-chan grilled them! Yeah.
I did not! I did not! Why the hell would I do something like that? That's right. That's right. Jessica grilled them. Skin a meatball, liver and onion. Swim in meat dolls. Liver and onion.
Yeah.
As I made fun of Jessica, Maria tagged along, looking like she was having fun. Oh, I never guessed she was such a good sport. Alrighty then. I'll make you my #1 follower. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed, possibly because she was happy about this little connection we've made with each other. That's not it, Maria-chan. I've heard wild birds are attuned to change in weather and atmospheric pressure. The weather will probably get worse tonight. The seagulls might have returned to their nests early.
Yeah. Not grilled?
Jessica Oni-chan didn't grill them. No! I wouldn't do something like that. Battler, you admit it right now that you lie. Battler-kun, Maria-chan is a naive girl, so she takes even jokes seriously. You should choose your jokes more carefully. She's 9! She's 9! She can think. George Aniki gently scolded me, even though I outstripped Aniki in height. Aniki was Aniki, of course. I hate that line. There was no choice but to obediently apologize. Sure, my bad. Maria, that was a joke. The seagulls are all taking it easy in their nest today, and that's all. Battler lied. George Oni-chan told the truth. Had she actually been tricked despite all the fun that she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe she acts like she's 5. Maybe I would be very concerned if I was her mother. Maybe I went a little overboard with her afterhaul. Yeah, that's right. What George Aneki said is true. The weather's bad, so they probably went home for the day. It doesn't mean they're gone. Right, Aunt Rosa? That's right. Tomorrow, when the weather gets better, I'm sure they'll be back so we can hear them cry, "Nah, nah," like they always do.
I'll wait until the weather gets bad so they come back.
Gonna wait until tomorrow. Gonna wait until the weather's better. Ugh. Maria was in a lighter mood, and she looked forward to tomorrow when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, George Aniki really was amazing at taking care of the kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well, when I was a brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift. It's his ikigai. I hate that I said that. George-kun is amazing at taking care of young kids. If you wanted to, I bet you'd do great with a job in childcare, don't you think? Yeah, it's almost like George Nissan was born to do something like that. Personally, I think it would suit you better than doing business in some company president's office. Oh no, childcare is a fine career path, but it's not a job where merely liking children is enough. You really are modest, George-kun. But Battler-kun is quite good with children too. Just a second ago, even though it didn't last long, Maria seemed to be having a lot of fun. Please keep on playing with her like you did just now. Just choose your jokes more carefully, okay? Giggle. Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun. Come on, Rosa. And you brats too. What the hell are you doing? Let's get going. Okay, we're coming. The old bastard was waving for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms.
Now then, everyone, allow me to lead you to the guest house where you will be spending the night. Please, this way.
Goda-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. That's nice. I like this. I kind of like the art style for all the scenery is super unique. A serpentine twisting path led us through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I'd guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep. But personally, I'd have been happier if they had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose, to put the airs of distance and importance. Before long, we saw garden-style stone steps. Ah, from here on, I do have some memories. Go up these, and at the top of the stone steps, we saw a beautiful guest house. Oh god, okay, that kind of scared me, the track change. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it.
Ah! It's as beautiful as ever this year. A real delight for the eyes.
After climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one. So I guess they all come here once a year, but then the rest of the head family lives here. I guess Jessica lives here? I don't know. Is it just me, or are the flowers a little less lively this year? It's probably because it wasn't as hot this summer.
I also believe that was a factor. Sadly, this year's blooming is a tad inferior compared to last year's.
Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remember that 6 years ago, huge numbers of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents, who came every year, couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seemed to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago. This place is always so amazing. It would be wonderful to have a rose garden like this at home. Give it up.
Give it up. Who do you think would take care of it? Roses are a real pain with bugs and diseases to worry about.
Well, from what I've heard, Kairi-san takes care of her roses every day and makes sure... Oh wait, I think that's his wife? I can't believe her outfit. It's so freaking scandalous. Huh? What are you talking about? That's right. Though in this person's case, the rose goes after the insects like some nasty carnivorous plant. Oh, so that's what you mean. Come on, Rosa, can't you give that a rest for just today? I've put that sort of thing completely behind me. I wonder. After all, you're a womanizer on almost a genetic level. No need to worry, Rosa-san. When a rose gives you too much trouble, it's always best to snip it at the root. Such a frightening talk this is. Guys who are popular with the ladies always forced to live dangerously. I sure hope I turn out a bit prettier in my next life. Hideyoshi Nissan, like I keep saying, it isn't like that at all. And Kairi, stop it. You're freaking me out. You've made my rose wilt. What the hell? Okay. Hey Maria-chan, look over there. Here. These roses are especially magnificent. Magnificent roses. Smells pretty sweet. Oh wait, how many people are streaming this game, just out of mild curiosity? 2 people. But I've got the best stream. Okay. This suits my elegance perfectly. Hey, cut it out! Maria's gonna imitate you and get hurt by the thorns. Ding dong. She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. We are out here hydrating tonight. Alright, time for a flavored toothpick. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George Aniki smiling broadly at us. Hey now, Maria-chan, be careful. Rose thorns can hurt. George Oni-chan, only this rose is strange. Strange? What's wrong? Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. I wonder if that's narrative foreshadowing. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish. Oh god. Others wilt. That's all there was to it, but Maria seemed very concerned about the unhealthy one in the group. It must have made her feel lonely. That's very forlorn. So you feel sad for this rose because it's the only one that isn't healthy?
Yeah. The others are all healthy, but this one's sad.
Well, they all bloom and wither at their own paces. I bet this one's just starting to wilt early because it got to bloom before any of the others. Yeah, that's right. It probably just bloomed like crazy, fulfilled its duty, and went to sleep. You shouldn't get so worked up about it.
Ugh.
It seemed that Maria's pure, sensitive. Why is they so obsessed with like her purity and her innocence, and I don't know, very weird. Okay. Children are not pure and innocent. They're total freaking gremlins. Also, it's the 80s, so she should be really into like George Michael or something. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her. Then Maria-chan, why don't you look after this rose until we leave?
Ugh.
George Aniki straightened up and felt around his pocket. He then took out a wrapper from the candy he had been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string and then tightly tied it to the rose as a sort of marker.
Hey, that's pretty cute.
Later on, you could come and give it some water. I'm sure Mr. Rose will be happy.
Ugh. Come and give it water.
I think you should give Mr. Rose here a name. I'm sure that it'll make it happy, and you'll get to know it a little better. A name.
A name. Ugh.
Though she still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have been completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki. He's got that gift of the gab. George Nissan has always been really understanding. Can't help but respect him. Yeah, I guess he was just born that way. We've got to start picking up tips. Was this garden just as magnificent when yuns are kids?
Was this garden just as magnificent when you all were kids?
It was only after I stopped living here that it grew so big. Before that, the garden was simpler, though I'm still attached to that one. Nissan fiddled with it too much. Was that vaguely bad taste of his? I liked it much better before.
Ava, you've got to think positive.
Setting aside how it used to look, its beauty now is something to be admired. You'll be able to relax a lot better if you look at it that way. I didn't mean it like that. I was just saying that I wanted to see this garden the way that it was before too.
Everyone, if you please, I shall guide you to your rooms now.
Goda-san called everyone to ask if we were ready. But our hearts have been completely stolen away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year. So so none of them do go there. I guess does the only person that lived there, is he just the grandfather? Absinthe drinking grandpa? I don't know. I'm still gonna turn it down more. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had themselves to be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Goda-san continued to wait, smiling until our parents got tired of the roses and told them to guide us to our rooms. Oh, hey, if it isn't Cannon-kun, it's been so long. How are you doing? Uncle Hideyoshi said, Cannon. That's a boy? That's not a boy. Get the fuck out of here. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda emphasized his small stature. Oh, I gotta stretch my back. I wanna crack my back, but I can't do it. Oh, I think I kinda just did it. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took off his hat, and bowed his head. Good afternoon. I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him, he was another servant. Okay, I do want to see if he's on here now. He's not. I'll give it a second. He greeted us and responded to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. Yeah, I know exactly what this character is about. When Goda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us.
Bato-sama, allow me to introduce you. This is one of the servants of the Urushimiya head household.
Cannon-san,
Greet our guests.
Yeah, I'm pleased to meet you. I am the servant, Cannon. Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant. You couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. Shouldn't that kid be in school? When Goda-san urged him in a whisper to give him a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Cannon only cast his eyes downwards. Cannon-san, could you perhaps give them a little more of a greeting? No, because we are furniture. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't want us to say. He didn't know what to say else to us in greeting. Well, Cannon-kun's shy and doesn't tend to talk back. He might not be that sociable, but deep down, he's a good person. Don't get him wrong. You've been working here for 3 years, haven't you? Pretty sure you started a year before Goda-san, right? Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot. Bro, he's wearing a dress. He's a gay king. Leave him be. Leave the gay king alone. Ugh. Wait. Hold on, I'm just chilling for a second. That Trump letter leaked today, which is kind of crazy. Nice to meet you. I'm Battler. I'm 18. How old are you? I think he's 17. He fell silent as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. Here again, Jessica plowed ahead. He's been working here since he was 13. Child labor. We love child labor. Alright, you're 16. Yes, that is correct. It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. A young servant. He performs his duties silently and diligently, but is not so highly regarded as a servant to his unsociable nature. There are multiple other servants with in their pseudonyms? Why do they use pseudonyms? He and Shannon just happened to be the other ones on duty that day. What does that day mean? Oh wait, what are some tips? I got no... Oh, that's everything. That changes everything. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. Why do all these kids have something to prove? I see, 16, huh? That's gonna be a delicate time, which means I probably asked him something I should not have. Heh, I'm glad you're about our age. Just be cool and call me Battler, and I'll call you Cannon. Thank you very much. But the sentiment alone is sufficient, Battler-sama. Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Cannon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. Bro's wearing a dress. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that. Cannon-san, could you perhaps be a little more courteous? A smiling face is also part of a servant's duty. My apologies. I shall make an effort.
Goda-san, Cannon-kun's trying his best, yes.
Oh, whoops. It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable. And apparently he had improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile, but let a small sigh of resignation escape.
Well then, I still have work to do, if you'll excuse me.
It looked like Cannon was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then, the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell. That sucks. Help the guy out.
What do you think you're doing? Now, clean it up quickly.
Goda-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it would be shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests. Cannon-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be doing fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having some trouble getting his arms around and lifting some sacks of fertilizer. Are you okay? You're so careless. Here.
Milady, you will dirty your garments. Please leave this to us.
With a smooth motion, Goda-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Cannon-kun was having trouble with sacks of fertilizer.
Ugh, you'll dirty your garments.
Don't worry, the ones I'm wearing aren't that expensive. Besides, I hate guys who just sit there and make the waitress pick the fork they dropped at our restaurant. I lifted the other bags that had fallen. Of course they weren't light for me, but it was a but of course they weren't light, but for me it was a piece of cake. Canon-kun looked at me surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest. Butler-sama, don't worry about it. I will take care of everything, so don't you worry. I may not look it, but I've got it where it counts. Since Canon-kun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of... He's 16! Wait, never mind. I hit mine when I was 16, I think. I think it was like the summer between 9th and 10th grade. The kind of weight might have been too much for him. It is quite heavy. It's natural that it would be difficult for you. Don't worry about it, Canon-kun. Oh, whoops. Okay, my time to shine. This makes up for the boat stuff before, right? Ha! As if that could make up for freaking out like that. Ha ha ha! Later I'll tell you about it too, Canon-kun. Battler was totally hilarious. Gonna fall! Fall! As they did this, I piled all the stuff back onto the wheelbarrow. I beg your forgiveness for letting you witness such unsightliness. Unsightliness. Come now, that's quite enough. Please go. Dork. Letting the guests who were supposed to feel welcome see such a disgraceful thing must have been hideously embarrassing for the servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Canon-kun left. You're too harsh on him, Goda-san. Shouldn't you have helped him instead of being a bully? That was wrong of me. I deeply implore your forgiveness. Without even a twitch on his smile, Goda-san apologized elegantly. Canon-kun has a ton of things he's good at too. It's just that being young works against him all the time. It's a crying shame. Well, it's a prickly age. Let's just leave him be. After all, closed-mouthed servants are the best kind. Isn't that right, Kumasawa-san? Rudolph-sama, you truly are harsh. There's no servant as silent as me, of course. Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa Bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere cleared up once thanks to her cheerful smile. Okay. I'd like to sit down our luggage soon. Goda-san, what rooms are we all going to take? It should be the same as the previous year.
Allow me to guide you. Please, this way.
He headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Cannon watched over ahead as all the guests entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Cannon couldn't lift himself as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favors had stirred up in Cannon, but as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he couldn't just let go of. He's gay, and he loves Battler. Muttered words escaped his lips. Those words he murmured were so soft that he didn't even reach his own ears, even I. Ken hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip. I remember the rose garden, but I don't remember this guest house at all. Was it built recently? Torayan, visitor's retreat. It was written on a gatepost-like thing. But since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design carefully done in harmony with the garden. Correct. It was built the year before last. 3 years ago. 2 years ago. Ever since then, they've had us sleep over here. This place is more fun than that junky old mansion you knew. I wish my room was over here. Ugh. I want a room here too. I want one. I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came over only a few times a year. They got money. Ava-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, please do make use of this room. Rudolph-sama, Kairi-sama, please take this room over here. I really do love how beautiful and elegant this place is. Western-style architecture truly is wonderful. I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that... I can handle Western design for a few days, but any longer than that, and you need the good old Japanese look. Japanese people just relax best on tatami mats. Haha, they've been fighting over whether to make our new house Japanese style or Western style. Mom still holds a grudge about Dad having the construction started with a Japanese layout. And they bicker all the time about it. I'm really jealous, Georgie-san. Your parents get along really well, don't they? Mine are so frosty. Then again, they're always in sync when it comes to my grades. All the rooms seem to be for 2 people. I was grateful since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that they were family. And anyway, I figured those 2 wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. What's with the creepy smile? You're thinking about something dirty, aren't you? Something dirty? Of course not. Please enjoy your stay. Ow! That hurts, you old bastard. Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind. Cut the crap. I'm getting a stomach ache, and I'm not the mood for this. You're the guest of honor this time around, so play as nice as possible with Dad and Aniki and the rest. At very least, be careful what you say in front of Dad. Got it? Because wisecracks don't go along well with him. Jessica-chan, what's the head's mood been like lately? Same as last year, I guess. Considering that they say he's got 3 months left to live. He's lively, grumpy, and irritable as ever. Meaning this year he's in his usual bad mood. And as usual, the only one who's able to look after him is Genji-san. And Genji's the doctor, I think. Oh, he's not on here. I'm gonna take a really good nap today. Okay. Pier, 1839. Jeez. I'm looking at Twitter. It seems the master will open his heart up to no one else. Lately, us small people have not even been granted an audience with him. He shut himself in his study again, probably doing nothing but that weird black magic of his. What he does for a hobby is his own damn business, but when he starts stinking up the house, it gets on my nerves. I wish he'd never come out of that study again. You shouldn't talk about like that. You shouldn't talk like that about the elderly. We're all indebted to him since he rebuilt the Ishiromiya family. We should be more grateful. Well, sorry. After being rebuked by George Anaki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Shiromiya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant all of its members were a bit strange and completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family head, our grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomachache earlier, and I imagine that reflected the honest feelings of all the adults here today. Why did the I'm trying to read about why the French government collapsed. Oh, an austerity budget. This was unpopular in the coalition. And he didn't want to negotiate it, so he called for the vote of confidence. So I wonder if he probably knew that was going to happen. At least that's how I imagine it playing out. I don't know. Okay. No doubt they were just jealous of grandchildren who could just play around and laugh without care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fist, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't his kids have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even us grandkids had to suffer. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time. Always making people cower with that sharp gaze of his. I remember that room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph for me. 6 years ago, I was in elementary school, but I'm a high schooler now. If I act up, things could get serious. Ooh, scary. He does look frightening, but he's not so terrifying that you need to tense up like that. Nothing of what he says is truly unreasonable. He may be clumsy at talking, but he's a very logical person. But George Nissan, you've been the family darling since like forever because of your awesome grades, right? Grandfather treats us completely different. I've even gotten slapped with a wooden sword on my ass. My ass! On my... Oh my god. Well, you are the heiress of the head family, Jessica-chan. Grandfather is giving you special attention. You've got to realize that his strictness reflects his high hopes for you, which is okay to be sexually abused, apparently, according to George. Yeah, she doesn't want it. I think I already said it before, but Jessica's... the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins of branch families, so she probably feels totally different sort of pressure than we do. Ugh. Jessica Oni-chan, is that heavy? If I help you hold it, will it get lighter? Nah, thanks. It's okay. I'm not gonna push it on you, Maria. I'm gonna bear this cross until my grave. Don't worry. She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to show some of the uneasiness she felt towards the future. Maybe we were in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future. I didn't care. I did not care at all. Oh, my indigestion is killing me. Maria, come here. You and I will be in this room. Battler-kun, I heard you're gonna be with me in this. Oh god, that sucks. I would not want to share a room with my cousin. It's bigger than our parents' room. Dang. Well, I figured we cousins would all want to hang out together. So I told him to get the biggest room ready. Ugh. I like it more in here too. I'd rather be here than with Mama. Ugh. Ugh really is a catch-all for like any feelings she has. That's really great. Okay. Oh, you like it better here too, Maria? Okay, this room is George and mine's, but it will give you special permission to come in. Better keep it a secret from your mom, okay? Ugh, it's a secret! 9-year-old, by the way. Very great writing. Aunt Rosa was behind us, but Maria answered, striking the air with her fist clenched tight. And I need water. I'll be right back. Where is my... Here we go. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, our parents had gathered again in the corridor. Hey, what are you brats planning to do? I love how I give them a different voice. Whoops. Every time. Are your cousins just gonna stay here and chat? It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally, they would make us follow them and greet everyone together. But if that had been the case, Dad would have just told us to come, and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what do we do? Well, it'll be lunchtime before long anyway. Better let the kids unwind here. Besides, if worse comes to worse, this might be the last chance to play outdoors.
Ugh. I'll go too.
Maria, you out sit for Mama, okay? Behave yourself and wait here.
Ugh.
Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her in her own room, leave her on her own. George Aniki noticed this immediately and gave a clear reply for all his cousins. Well then, we'll accept your offer and house sit. We've got lots of stories to tell each other after being away for a year. That sounds wonderful. And Batlukun has 6 years worth of stories to tell, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'll take care of the house like a good boy.
Kumasawa-san, I'm gonna stay here too. We'll break rank and leave the rest to the adults.
You're 18, you are an adult.
Perhaps that would be best. I'll report it to Madam.
Then allow me to guide you all to the mansion.
This way, please.
The other children are one thing, but George is getting to be an adult. He's 23. Wouldn't it be better if he came with us?
If we make him come, then George will be the only one out of place. Interacting with his cousins is also important. Okay, I'll see y'all later.
Oh my god, I'm so right on the dot. I knew he was Southern coded. Absolute media literacy from yours truly. Absolute media literacy. Once again. Outstanding. So rarely do I'm usually not smart enough for that type of stuff. The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as our tight grip from the harbor, with Goda-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we gathered in the rooms assigned to his cousins, George Aniki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumasawa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back. "What's up, Aniki?" Nothing. I just wanted to ask her something."
Ugh! Tell me too!
He. What could George Nissan be asking Kumasawa-san, and not me, I wonder? I don't have a clue. No, it's a misunderstanding, and not that I know what you're misunderstanding. Aniki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something, and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's no fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me. Hey Maria, it looks like we're the only two out of the loop, right? Don't you want to know what they're talking about? We want to know too! I fooled around while oohing together with Maria. No, I'm telling you, it's no big deal. Liar! I'm surprised you'd tell such a terrible lie, Aniki. Confess! Maria, you tickle his right side. I'll tickle his left. I got his right side. Battler's got his left. Wait a second. Wait, you two. Stop. Maria and I played around, chasing George Aniki as he tried to escape, rolling onto the bed. I realized high schoolers aren't supposed to bounce around like kittens, but I still missed this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun. George Nissan, what were you asking Kumasawa-san, Well, I've got a good guess. It's been a year since the last time he visited the head family. Who knows what servants might have come and gone during that time. Either way, it looks like he'd like to go and say hi. Say hi? I want to say hi too, which is why you stayed back. What the hell? That's nothing to feel guilty about, Aniki. I'm not buying it. Maria, don't be fooled. Anaki's still hiding something. More torture! Warrior! Stop it! Seriously! Maria-chan, you too! Stop already! She's probably busy clearing or getting lunch ready. Don't worry, she'll drop by to say hi sooner or later. Heh, I bet you'll rather be welcomed by Shannon instead of that nosy Goda. Maybe he has a thing for Shannon. Shannon. Ah, yeah, I remember a girl with that name. Is she still a servant? How's she doing? Alright, I think we gave them some time in the narrative to chill. And by the way, Natsuhi-Nisan, how's your headache been lately? Seems pretty serious before. Ew, what? Ugh. Ew, she's uggo. Oh, that's cool. My mouse wheel activates the backlog. I didn't know that. I have been much better lately. Thank you for your concern. Alright, here. A present for you, Natsuhi-Nisan. Thank you very much. I'm always receiving gifts from you. Is this black tea? I love black tea. It's herb tea with peppermint and lemon balm. It's called monk shit tea. It's a blend from a well-known store, and it's supposed to be good for headaches. I thought it might help you too. Rosa was always a conscientious woman, probably because she was the youngest of 4 and much younger than the other 3. She managed to grow up without gaining the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsuhi to soften her expression for a moment. But it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by long years of mental stress. This could be an anime. Come to think of it, you're always complaining about those headaches. Pull yourself together. Jessica-chan has her exams this year, right? That's going to be the turning point in her life. Will she really be able to rely on you as a mother if you're like that? Oh my god, this is freaking nuts. Besides, Natsuhi-Nisan, you're 3 years younger than me. You should get your act together. I apologize. I've had a tendency for headaches all my life. Even under normal circumstances, Ava sometimes failed to choose her words carefully, but her comments aimed at Natsuhi contained shards of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsuhi. She frantically contained her urge to grimace and pretended to ignore Ava. Our Battler-kun will have his exams this year too. Rudolph-san, shouldn't you be a little concerned as well? For the sake of your own son, you'd better get serious to the point of having headaches like Natsuhi-Nisan. If I say anything, he automatically rebels. So what should I say? Should I say the opposite? That it's okay for him to mess around? That's probably the only way I can get him to listen to me. Hideyoshi-Nisan, George did really well on his exams, right? Please, you gotta teach me the trick to handling children. Well, it's probably because I got him to understand why he should study. Study isn't worth anything on its own. That's right, the real point of studying is practice research stuff on your own whenever you bump into something you don't know. If you can't do that, you can't be useful to society. I'm not talking about math or writing. You gotta learn how to learn. That's splendid. I wish our Jessica could understand that. That's splendid. I wish Aunt Jessica could understand that as well. If she is the heiress of the Shiramiya family, then that's right. You really have to force her to becoming the successor? After all, Omen has to find a woman's happiness. Parents shouldn't force such things on their children, don't you think? Hold your horses, Ava. Each family has its own way of raising their kids. You shouldn't be pushy. I'm sorry. Natsuhi-Nisan. Don't take it the wrong way. Her face is so atrocious. It's hilarious. Oh god, why is Jared Leto trending? Please be trending for a funny reason, Jared Leto. Oh, I think it's just like making fun of the fact that he's in Tron. I can't take him seriously. He's morbing. He's so morbing. He's extremely morbing. So morbing. Very odd. I wonder if I should play something else after this. I was gonna do this for 3 hours. Was the plan. Because this shit just makes me talk way too much. Though the light shining through the window was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsuhi. As if, well, Rudolph's got the stomach ache, Natsuhi's got the headache, probably Kairi's got the earache. As if to sweep away that mood, Kairi brightly made a suggestion to all present. Still, this black tea has a lovely aroma. Let's drink it right away. In Japan, surely you couldn't find something like Leopold's black tea anywhere but Ginza, right? I see you know a lot about it, Kairi-Nisan. I guess it was worth going to the trouble of buying it. Kairi and Rosa stood up from their seats and made as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsuhi forestalled them. I thank you both, but we can try it later. One of our people will be coming to bring some tea, so please relax.
I'm leaving for later, you two. Let's enjoy our welcome drink.
Rudolph gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kyrie and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Natsuhi bit her lower lip, frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Ava immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving
Indigestion death.
Shannon's here. She got the tea for no apparent reason. Natsuki gave her a pained look, and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong. Holy shit. Why do all these... Okay. Excuse me. Your tea is ready.
Shannon-chan, it's been a while. You keep getting prettier every time I see you. Oh, thanks.
Thanks.
Save the chatting for after you've set the table. The tea will get cold.
God, I'm so good. I apologize, madam. She apologized like a small, frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Natsuki's an asshole. Fuck her. Wait, is she on the thing now? No. Neither of them are. Okay. Kind of grim that each parent only had one kid. Come on, Natsuhi-Nisan. There's nothing wrong with exchanging a few words and greeting. The tea must be plenty cold already, considering how long we've been kept waiting. Oh my god. There's no need to worry. It's not cold yet.
Shannon, finish setting the table. Quickly.
I'm sorry, madam. Natsui's irritation was obvious by now. The ineptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed to the incompetence of Natsu's everyday leadership, making her lose face. As the person in charge of the Shiromiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed, today of all days, was surely nothing less than total humiliation.
Lay off, Natsuyuri-san. Don't you think it's a little harsh to bully Shannon-chan when she's trying her best?
I'm not bullying anyone.
What a nice aroma. Oh my. Oh, what a nice aroma. May I ask what brand this is? I'm terribly sorry. I'll find out for you later. Kyrie's trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood.
I need a break. This is a lot of reading.
Which I can do, but... However, Shannon had embarrassed herself instead of darkening Natsu's face in the room's mood. By this point, Ava was audibly giggling. What's this? Oh, she's crying. You don't even know what you're pouring us? Come now, you must... Oh, wait. She doesn't know what the tea is. This poor girl is getting dragged into the friggin' ringer by these rich assholes. We'll need a silver spoon at the very least before we can drink this. I'm sorry. I'll get one immediately. Shannon-chan, do you know what silver spoons are used for? They have to be silver. Do you know why? No? No. A teasing smile rose from Ava's face as she stared at Shannon setting the table. By itself, Ava's expression was sweet in an impish sort of way. However, the words being spun from her lips held the keenness of a razor within them. Shannon tried with all her might to avoid Ava's continuing gaze. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa immediately gave her some timely help. Thank you for the follow. Takyo underscore 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 underscore. I hope you like the stream. Realizing that Shannon was hard-pressed for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help. They say that if silver is touched by poison, it darkens. Giggle. Why do I read the laughing, but I just giggle becomes giggle to me every time. I don't know why. Guess you've learned something today, Shannon-chan. They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsuhi's eyes, this was almost an insult to the tea, and to herself for saying, I can't stand this lady. This lady is so uncouth. Rudolph laughed flippantly and patted Ava's shoulder.
Haha, silver cutlery wouldn't do any good for you, Aneki. Just one lick of your poisonous tongue, and even a silver plate would turn pitch black.
Since I get to hear that poison tongue every day, I must be poison-proof myself. Call me modern Mithridates. Ava, I don't mind when you use it on me, but you'd better hold back when talking to people who haven't built up a resistance. Wah ha 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 ha. My, how cruel. All I did was teach Shannon-chan a bit about tea, didn't I? Giggle. Everyone followed the lead except by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled, though not easily. Only Natsuhi didn't join in, but for the time being, that conversation inside the parlor could be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. I can't stand Natsuhi-Nisan. As Shannon finally finished setting up the tea table and tried to leave, Kairi apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Shannon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Shannon cast her eyes downward as she pushed the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way. That's awful. That's so bad. Don't be sad. You didn't do anything wrong, Nissan. I think they're siblings, is my theory. I think they're siblings. You are watching. That is my role. Oh wait, are they both on the system thing now? No, neither of them are. Is that because Battler hasn't met them, I wonder? I don't know. That is my role. Ellipses. Madden and Ava-sama can go to hell! But the worst coward is that guy. Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Shannon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again, so when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task of setting the table on Shannon, who happened to be passing by. You might not call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one. It's okay, Cannon-kun. Thanks. I'm not bothered by it at all. Cannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Shannon's words and how she actually felt. Thank you. Even if you're the only one who understands, I feel a bit better. You keep your feelings too bottled up, Nei-san. You should be less hard on yourself for once. Yeah, thanks. Yawn. Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. Ooh, who's that? Oh wait, I know this guy. Who's from the beginning, I think. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Genji, the head servant. What are you doing here? There. Shannon, back to the kitchen. Yes. If you'll excuse me. Shannon humbly obeyed and promptly made a push to push the cart and leave. However, Cannon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words. What is it? Did something happen? Shh. Shannon didn't do anything wrong, but even so, they stopped. Indigestion moment. This is the indigestion live stream, where we love indigestion and not being able to eat. Stop it, Cannon-kun. Please excuse me. I'll return to work immediately. Cannon-kun, you should go back to your post too, please. If you say so, Nei-san. Ellipses. If that's all, then go. Yes, if you'll excuse me. From the shadow in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kumasawa. Poor Shannon-san. Cannon-san. There's no reason for those two to be picked on. Still, Goda-san's dislike for them is an undeniable fact. Until Goda-san was taken in by the Ashiramiya head family, I hear he worked for a fabulous hotel somewhere. The manner of work he learned there was quite impressive, I believe. It's just that Goda-san's the newest servant here. He must have a pride accumulated from his previous positions. Because Shannon-san and Cannon-kun are his seniors here in the mansion, and yet they're inexperienced and have gone through much less in his life than he has. He picks on them every chance he gets. And also, sad as it may be, they are disliked by Madame Natsuhi too. Of course, if we're talking about experience, the Madame has been in this family for much longer. And yet, this one point where I cannot help but sympathize with the Madame as well. Truly, the Master is a man with many sins on his conscience. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his... I'm not really reading this. Give me a second. Why didn't he realize that such a trifling whim of his would give the Madam such an inferiority complex? Of course, on that side, even the Madam is fully aware that those two don't deserve to be treated harshly. However, the heart has its reasons to know not. That reasons know not. Ah, I feel sorry for them. I can't do anything but watch over them from the shadows. Oh shit. It's noon now. I don't really think that's really what it means, but okay. The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, there were both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages, adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively. I think I'm finally getting used to all of this. Jessica and Maria have grown more than I could have imagined in the past 6 years. To be honest, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, but talking like this, I guess that on the inside, nothing's really changed since back then. I agree. I haven't changed a bit, even after 6 years. Even though your body's gotten gigantic, you're still a kid inside. Ugh. I'm a kid too. I'm a kid too. Well, even you aren't gonna be a kid forever, are you, Maria? I mean, you're gonna transform from a kid into a cute young lady, aren't ya? And when that happens, that flat as a board. Yep. Nope. That is so bad. I hate anime. This is why I don't like anime. This is why. It's this shit. I can't stand it. When that happens, oh my god. No, Maria Chan, you can't make that kind of promise. That's really bad. I keep my promises. I always keep them. You really are an earnest, good girl. The guy you marry is gonna be really lucky. This is so awful. Oh shit, I dropped my Moomin coaster. I keep my mic on because I wanted to pick up my mic and keep it on my stump in my lap. As I thought without Battler-kun, and my kidneys hurt. I'm in awful health. I can't hide it. As I thought without Battler-kun in our little quartet, this group of cousins just didn't feel complete. These 6 years have been kind of lonely. That's true. We didn't really goof off like this. Still, we did have some pretty constructive conversations, right? Stuff about preparing for future, exam taking, finding jobs. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm here, we just talk about stupid stuff and mess around. But I'm having more fun this year. Ugh. That's true. I agree. This year's the most fun yet. Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Aneki stroked Maria's head and she giggled like a happy kitten. Nothing has really happened. I'm 5 hours into this game and nothing has happened, basically. Other than the vibes have been kind of weird. And Granddad drinks absinthe. Pardon me. Your meal is ready. A timid knocking sound and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly. Shannon, come in! You remember Battler, right? Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about our age. This is where I confirm my pet theory that George has a thing for her. It's been quite some time since we last met, Battler-sama. It's so nice to see you after 6 years. It's me, Shannon. Trembling a little. Oh, she's so cute. Ah! Jessica had me surprised, but look at you, Shannon Chan. You've totally turned into a total beauty too, haven't you? You are too kind. Still, the food on this island must be really nutritional, huh? I hate it. Everything that comes out of his mouth is poison. Everything that comes out of his mouth is just like sickening poison. Oh my god. Look at him. I'm not reading that. Gah! Ow! Thank you so much, Jessica. Why the hell are you thanking me? This is not okay. This is the 80s. This guy probably is so coked up. This guy is so coked up. That's my headcanon. He's on coke. On coke. Seriously, my bad, Shannon Chan. I almost got overwhelmed. You've got to fight back when people do that. But you are an important guest, Battler-sama. Now, look here. A pervert's a pervert, whether he's a guest or not. A girl's chest has got an air defense identification range of about 10 centimeters or so. That's just already an invasion of airspace. So you'd better scramble the jets immediately and give them an instant slap. I couldn't do such a thing because we are furniture. That's not good. I don't know. To think such devoted girls still existed in this era. It's enough to make a man dizzy, but no. I'm coming at you with a perverted face again. Knock me down. Look out, pervert on the loose. This gag can't end until you deliver a punchline, so slap me, please. Hit me. I cannot fulfill your request because I'm furniture, but if it were an order, I'd obey you because that is my duty. Ha ha ha, then I'll make it an order. The next time Badlikud tries to touch you, counterattack with a slap. Got it? Yes, as you wish. From now on, that'll be what I'll do. Please understand, Battler-sama. Shannon Chan announced this while bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show I was fine with that. 6 years ago, you might have been mistaken for a servant's daughter who lent a hand at your parents' work, but now you're a full-fledged adult servant. How long have you been working here? Well, I've had the pleasure of serving in this household for 10 years. 10 years of child labor. Oh my gosh. Oh, so many bad takes on Twitter about the French language. Oh my gosh. I like anime fatigue is real for me. Like that is like one of the worst tropes. She's Shannon. The kanji for her name are read as Shannon. Now here's another name that's far from a typical Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Shiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name
or something. I think whenever that little stinger hits, I think that's when she's in the system. Yeah, okay, I'm right. Young but inexperienced servant. She's normally calm and performs her job efficiently, but she messes up when she gets nervous. And it's not her real name. Oh. Why does Discord say I'm streaming? Bad takes on the internet. We love it. Alright. If so, that might explain why her name's similar to Canon-kun, that kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. I think they're siblings. Thank you again, Bed Wars 09 for following. I saw you followed 2 days ago, but if you wanted to follow me again, that's cool, I guess. I hope you enjoy my little stream. I'm not really doing all that much, but... She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old? Ugh, the child labor, what the hell? Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person of my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. That shy part of her has always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure that you'd expect of a girl her age. Not reading that. Oh my god, I'm so... My media literacy is off the charts. I'm so off the charts. Media freaking literacy. Let's go. And that kid we met earlier, Canon-kun, is her little brother. He's not exactly my little brother. Oh. Never mind. Negative media literacy. She still loves... He loves me like a big sister. He didn't cause you any trouble, did he? Haha. He's the same as always. If only he were just a bit more sociable. I apologize if he's caused you any trouble. Nah, he didn't cause any trouble at all. As a fellow man, I understand how moody you could get at that age. It's no... Dude, he's 18. You're still there, bro. You're still moody. It's no surprise he's unsociable. I was really unsociable.
Ugh, I get called that all the time, too. I get called unsociable, just like Canon.
You aren't unsociable at all, Maria-chan. I wanted to be like him. You said the meal was ready, right? Oh, he does like her. I'm so media literate. Yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
Your meal has been fully prepared, so allow me to guide you all to the mansion. Shannon bowed again and formally returned to her duty mode. We realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. That's so crazy. Alright, we got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further. So shall we go to the mansion? Everyone's probably hungry, right? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Goda-san's food. That guy was apparently a chef at this famous hotel. So he's got super good cooking. Ooh, I can't wait. Let's go, Maria. We're gonna stuff ourselves like pigs.
Stuff ourselves like pigs.
No, you can't take everything Badler-kun says seriously, okay? Because he's always joking around. Okay, let's go. Under Shannon-chan's guidance, we headed towards the mansion. Do we get to see what it looks like? Because that's the guest house. Okay. Met once again by the magnificent rose garden, we continued onward as the intimidating mansion of the Shiromiya head family came into view. It had apparently been built shortly after the war. Oh god. So you could feel the dignity of almost a half century hanging about it. Where was the grandfather during during the Second World War? I don't want to think about that all that much. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, it's not really that old, it's about the 50s. Equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, with all the drafts. Haven't these people heard of a kotatsu? What's a kotatsu? It's like a cooling device, I think. Okay. I needed that important Japanese cultural clue in for my gaijin brain. Oh gosh. Okay. Alright, we're in the mansion. Ooh. As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Now him, I remembered. Genji-san, who had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of head servant. Butler-sama, it has been quite some time since we last met. As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. His bow wasn't as graceful or refined as Goda's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated its feelings very well. Genji-san, it really has been a while. You look well. Thank you, I have been quite well. In Butler-sama, you've become a splendid young man. You are beginning to resemble the master in his youth. I look like grandfather? I guess that means grandfather was pretty popular with the ladies when he was young. From here on, I shall take Shannon's place and accompany you. Please, come this way. Shannon-chan bowed deeply and watched us leave. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji-san's guidance. Genji-san, just like Kumasawa-san, stood in stark contrast to us young people who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. It was as though time had stopped since the last time we met.
Yeah. Alright, water time. Genji-san was an extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's close aide or caregiver. And you might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems he was by my grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. But I wonder how long he served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning, when this mansion was first constructed, which would mean that he's dedicated half his life to serving here. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. As we passed through a massive hall that extended up into the second-story mansion with no separating floor, I spotted something that hadn't existed in my memory 6 years ago. Flash. Oh, this is animated. I see this character like everywhere with this game. Her name is Beatrice, that's all I know. It was an awfully big portrait hanging in the front of the stairs that rose to the second floor. Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it. Since I'd stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back. Sorry. Hey, Jessica, has that picture always been there? I pointed at the big, prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped, too. Oh, right. When you last came here, that hadn't been hung yet, had it? When was it again? Well, if my memory doesn't fail me, it was put on display around the year, but everything happened the year before last. Every single thing that happened 2 years ago. You are correct, sir. In April. Oh, you followed so it would pop up while streaming. That's hilarious. But yeah, thank you for following. Grandfather did that. So he paid to have it painted for him, huh? The portrait suited this Western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed, middle-aged women you often see in famous pictures. Umineko is my favorite visual novel. I got fully witch-pilled, bought all the manga, and visited the mansion in Japan. The mansion's a real place? I know nothing about this game. It's really cool that's like a real place. If she'd had normal black hair, I might have assumed it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. Oh, all the backgrounds are from real images through a filter? I thought they were like all like painted or something. That's really cool. However, she has a beautiful blonde hair. She had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all. So, just who is this lady? Maria answered that. Oh, Maria knows. Okay, Maria answered that simple question enthusiastically, as though proud she knew the answer. Ugh, I know. She's Beatrice. What? Beatrice. She's a witch. Didn't you ever hear the stories about her long ago? A witch? You mean the witch of this island?
I think I already said this, but Rokenjima is a small island only 10 kilometers in circumference. However, that's actually pretty massive, considering that only the Ushiramiya family lives here. So only the harbor and the area around the mansion were set up to be lived in. Beyond that, the island remained untouched as when it was uninhabited. The vast and empty forest had absolutely no lights, phones, or people passing through. To understand how dangerous that is, you need to forget your common sense as a city dweller. After all, if you happen to fall down a hole in the depths of the forest and sprain your ankle, no one would come to save you, no matter how much you cried or screamed. Then, once the sun went down, the forest would be wrapped in complete darkness since there was no streetlights. And since there were no signs, it'd be easy to get lost and confused, losing your sense of direction inside that dark forest. Nowadays, most people see a forest as a peaceful place. But to the people of bygone eras, before the light of civilization drove out the night, forests were seen as geographically separated from civilizations as the sea. Well, actually, they were carefully managed, like pieces of property, but okay. They were oceans above the ground. Fishermen who go out into the ocean are putting their lives at risk despite their technical knowledge. In the same way, hunters who would go out of the forest are in danger, despite having specialized knowledge of their own. If children were to go play in such dangerous forests, something terrible might happen. Why are we so negativity pilled here? Why is he so afraid of this forest? Someone's parents must have thought so. Maybe grandmother first said it, or maybe it was grandfather himself. Or perhaps the story had been passed down on this island since ancient times. There's a terrible witch in the forest, so you must not go in. At some point, this ghost story of Rokenjima was born. This is the legend of Rokenjima's witch. That's why, when we talk about a witch on this island, we're referring to the master of that vast and savage forest. Come to think of it, when I stayed at this mansion as a little kid, during those eerie nights when the wind and rain pounded on the windows, I remember being terrified by a story of the forest witch, who roamed around searching for human sacrifices. So, Beatrice, huh? And the grandfather's made some sort of Faustian bargain with this witch lady. And he drinks a lot of absinthe. Or at least it seems like it was absinthe. They said he was drinking green liquor, so I guess that's absinthe. So Beatrice, huh? When Aneki mentioned it, I searched my memory. I was sure I recalled hearing a name like that when I was little. I see. I totally forgot the witch in that legend had an elegant name like Beatrice. So, did grandfather go out of his way to have a portrait made just because we grandchildren didn't believe the story? She's the witch from grandfather's delusions. Ever since he had this picture hanged, he's been having a harder and harder time telling the difference between truth and fantasy. To us, she's just a witch that exists in grandfather's mind, but to him, she's a being that exists on this island. Exists. He says he had that painting made because the rest of us would be incapable of understanding otherwise. Huh. The whole thing's creepy as hell. Milady, this portrait is precious to the master. I beg of you, do not say such things in front of him. I know, even if you didn't tell me, I'd never do something like that. Jessica glanced at the portrait with an irritated gaze before turning away. Let's go. We're making everyone wait in the dining room.
Ugh, I'm hungry.
Only a small portion of this island was controlled by the Ushiramiya family. All the lawless remainder was the domain of the witch Beatrice. You might even call her the true ruler of Rokenjima. I felt a faint revival of that unsettling sense of misfortune, which I'd felt when I learned of the tutelary god's shrine being struck by lightning. Ooh, how ominous. And I remember that Kurosawa-san tried to tell me an ominous story about Rokenjima before Jessica stopped her. I don't know what she's planning to tell us about this island, but I do know one thing. It isn't the Ushiramiya family that rules Rokenjima. It's the witch, Beatrice. That's right. After all, this is the witch's island. Battler! Ugh, you're so slow! When I looked around, everyone was already heading towards the dining room. I hurriedly chased after them. We walked up to the huge double doors that led to the dining room. Genji-san knocked. I have brought the children. Please, pardon the intrusion. The doors were opened and we were invited inside. The dining room, which looked exactly like you'd imagine a rich person's dining room to be, had a super long table that was obviously positioned with no purpose other than to make guests conscious of their rank. Our parents were already sitting in accordance with their ordering. You're late, brats. Hurry up and take a seat. The old bastard pressed us to sit. The only gaps in that group of people were the spots where we were supposed to sit, which only made us feel our tardiness all the more. The seat at the head of the table, called the incipient's chair, was for the most highly ranked, reserved for grandfather. It was still empty. He probably wanted to show up last for dramatic effect. From the perspective of someone facing the incipient's chair head on, the seating order went from left to right, with the lowest ranking seats progressing in rows of two further away from it. Okay, they really want us to know like where everybody's sitting. So the left-hand side of the first row, closest to the incipient's chair, was where Uncle Kraus should have sat, since he was the second highest rank. Except Kraus isn't here. Yeah, he still isn't here. I thought he would be here by now. It looked like he hadn't arrived yet, so that seat was empty. Across from his chair, on the right side of the first row, that's kind of interesting because in Western culture, like being to the right of the head of the table is actually the most important spot. For like the second most important spot. Aunt Ava, who is the third in rank. The left-hand side of the second row was for the fourth highest in rank. There sat my damn dad, Rudolph, the third of the siblings. Across from him, on the right side of the second row, sat Aunt Rosa, the youngest sibling. At this point, you might expect their husbands and wives to come next. But nope. The left-hand seat in the third row, ranked number 6, belonged to Jessica. Opposite to her, George Oniki. I sat next to Jessica. And Maria sat across from me. I hate her. She's so annoying. Then finally, next to me on the left-hand side of the 5th row sat Aunt Natsuhi, the 10th highest in rank. Opposite of her was Uncle Hideyoshi. Next to Aunt Natsuhi, that's kind of weird that the husbands and wives aren't sitting with each other. Opposite her was Uncle Hideyoshi. Next to Aunt Natsuhi, in the 6th row, in the final seat of the left-hand side, sat Kairi-san. The seat opposite to Kairi-san was empty, even though the silverware had been set there and everything. According to this ranking system, that spot was where Aunt Rosa's husband should be sitting. Even though he wasn't supposed to be coming, his place was made up. Aunt Rosa's the one, we don't know her husband, right? Let me see. Because this is Aunt Rosa. Yeah. Because it says here... It said somewhere they don't know who her father is. Yeah, her father's identity. Okay, it was like the first sentence. Nice. I'm reading. Oh wait, this is new here too. Let me read this. The leader of the servants who work for the Yoshiromiya family. He has served Kinzo longer than any other and is the person who's most trusted by the old man. Since he serves Kinzo directly, Kraus and Natsuhi think of him as being a spy for Kinzo. I almost have everybody filled up. But normally, ranking systems of this sort give spouses equal position to their partners, but the Yoshiromiya family system is unique. Maybe it's a remnant of male chauvinism. If it was a remnant of male chauvinism, all the men would sit up at front. If you start with the assumption that a woman's womb is just something to be borrowed, then the children of direct descent would come first, directly followed by the grandchildren. In other words, spouses who have no blood ties and are therefore placed. In other words, spouses have no blood ties and are therefore placed at the end of the line. It's terrible, but by this system, my grandmother would be ranked even lower than me if she was still alive. Oh, that's messed up. In their youth, they obey their father. After they get married, their husband. After aging, their children. That's wild. There's an old saying, women have no home in any realm. Okay. Long ago, when I was still incapable of figuring all this out, I thought it was so great that we could all chat in our little groups, adult siblings with adult siblings and cousins with cousins. However, now that I can re-examine the seating order after growing up a bit, it stirs up some very complicated feelings in me. Aunt Natsuhi, who was married to the eldest son and was the de facto number 2 in managing the family, sat to my right, which meant that she was 2 steps lower than me in ranking order. It was hard to imagine what might be going on inside her heart. That's why I made a small apologetic gesture towards her before sitting down. How nice to see you, Battler-kun. You've grown quite tall, haven't you? Oh, yep. 6 long years of eating well, sampling various cuisines, and deriving sustenance from Mother Earth's bountiful gifts. What is that even? Okay. Hard work, but I pulled through. Growing just like a boy. I see. How tall are you now? I guess about 180 centimeters? But, Aunt Natsuhi, that's where you're supposed to say, heck, sounds like all you did was eat. Huh? I'm sorry. After a short pause, she did laugh with me, but it seemed she couldn't quite figure out what she was supposed to be laughing at. This woman... Okay, yes, so she's gonna be in the thing now, right? Yes, okay. Kraus's wife. She manages the household of the Yoshiromiya head family in place of her husband, who takes little interest in such matters. She was in charge... Well, in feudal society, I mean, it was, like, the women who ran the household, and given that, like, the grandmother is dead, it would be, like... At least in, like, traditional feudal Western society, it would be her responsibility to run the household. She possesses a strong sense of responsibility and a great deal of pride. However, neither her husband nor his siblings understand her very well, so her position is far from enviable. Glass shatter noise. This woman is Aunt Natsuhi. She's the wife of the eldest son of the family, meaning she's my father's older brother's wife. We would call that my aunt. Is it just simpler if I call her Jessica's mom? It feels bad to say I like it like this, but while I didn't exactly dislike her, I don't particularly like her either. She hardly spoke with us kids. And all my memories of her involve her taking to the adults about...
Okay. And all my memories of her involved her talking to the adults about complicated things with a scary look on her face. She's an asshole, that's why. I gotta text my mom. Okay. In fact, since we hardly ever exchange words, I spent a long time trying to figure out how I should approach her, though my efforts seem to have been ended in failure. The silverware sat neatly on the table, but the meal itself hadn't been brought yet. As a general rule, you couldn't start a meal until the person sitting next to the head of the table arrived. Not next to the head of the table, at the head of the table. So we're waiting for Gramps to arrive. Okay, so no lunch until he shows up. That's really rude. Not even the app? No apps! No apps! That stinks! Simply put, the silence in this room is caused by our parents enduring their hunger while they waited for grandfather to arrive. However, the grandfather from my memories would have always showed up on time to meals like this. He was the kind of person who would never be so late that it kept everyone waiting, especially after the entire group had arrived. Grandfather's pretty late. As far as I can remember, he was always strict about time. Well, that might have been true 6 years ago, but it hasn't been that way lately. In fact, he's off in his own little world so often he doesn't even show up at family meals. Still, I figured he'd at least come down today. Then again, I feel a lot more relaxed and happy without him. Jessica! Jessica! That's actually my delivery, never mind. When her mother scolded her, Jessica stuck her tongue out and looked away. No way around it. Might as well wait until our host arrives. When I glanced at the clock, I saw it was almost 12:20. Okay, so there's been 20 in-game minutes that have passed since it started. Oh, there he is. Oh, he looks different. Does he? Does he look different from the beginning? I want to look. I'm going to go look at my VOD real quick to see if he looks different, because he looks different. This is just for my own purposes. I think he was wearing like a mask or something. Can I not click through my VOD? Why is it not starting? Oh wait, there it goes. No, I'm totally wrong. Okay. Ishiro Miyakinzo, the aged head of the family, head of the Shiromiya head family. What a sentence. Okay. This man could be seen in his study. The clock had already passed. I have to make sure all my shit's right now. Okay, we're good. The clock had already passed noon, but he didn't even attempt to rise from his seat. With his spectacles on, he built a growing pile of books with elaborate bindings, which he then read intently. You couldn't really say that he was having too much fun to stop. Rather, he filled the room with a sense of impatience, or perhaps a sense of impending danger, as though every second wasted was a tragedy.
In this sealed room, a dense dust danced through the air, which was thick with the stench of chemicals that exuded a mix of suspicious odors. Those odors were somehow sweet and heavy. If anyone with a normal nose came in here, I don't have a normal nose, I can't smell. The first thing they'd do would be open a window and ventilate this room. The knocking against the study door had been going on for a while. A noise calling "Father" sometimes mingled with the knocks. As Kinzo heaved a deep sigh, he snapped shut the old book in his hands and slammed it on the table. Boom. And then he yelled at Kraus, who was still knocking at the door. "Silence! Enough with that racket, you fool! Who told you the door would be open if you but knocked? I'll crucify the imbecile! Do you wish to suffer the same fate?" "Father, this is the day of the family conference, which happens only once a year, is it not?" Why do they call it a conference? It's a reunion. Come on. Everyone's gathered down below. "Please come out," Kraus called out to his father through the door. Kinzo always shut himself up in the study, hating it when nearly anyone, even his family, entered the room. For that reason, Kraus had no choice but to call him from the corridor like this. "Molest me not! Just who is this everyone of which you speak? Do you mean the fools trying to drag me out of here? Then kill them all, tear them apart, use their bodies for firewood, and feed them to the witch's hearth. Put a pot in that hearth to boil the wormwood. Force the imbeciles who dare lure me out of here to drink the broth of the apocalypse." I think he's a gamer. "I will soak their dregs in liquor. Ah, where is Genji? Call for Genji. Have my demonic absinthe prepared." He has to he's so addicted to chasing the green fairy. He's so addicted to chasing the green fairy. That's so wild. I've had I've had an opportunity in my life to drink absinthe, and I don't think I'll ever be doing it. The whisperings of... Oh, yeah, he calls it the Green Fairy, too. He knows what's up. The whisperings of the Green Fairy reaches me no longer. Ah, where is Genji? Bring him here! On the other side of the door, Kraus, Nanjo, and Genji, as I think Nanjo's the doctor, kept waiting for the master of the house, who stubbornly refused to come out. Oh wait, who is that? Nope, I don't know who that is. Oh wait, I think that's Kraus. Kinzo has theater kid energy with total commitment to the bit. That's what we love to see. Like, everything is so extra for him. Everything is like a Shakespearean soliloquy. Everything, every time he talks, it's like he is performing on the stage. And I really love him. Like, I really liked his whole soliloquy at the beginning. Looks like he hates me to the core. My voice doesn't reach him anymore. Kraus shrugged though, saying it's no use, and smiled bitterly. From the beginning, he hadn't really expected his father to respond to his calls. However, since it was the duty of the eldest son, he tried as a formality. "Kinzo-san, your sons, daughters, and grandchildren will come to see you, have they not? Could you just let them see your face, if not for a short while?" "Shut up and be silent! You dare admonish me, Nanjo? I never told anyone to get you. I told them to get Genji. Now call for him immediately. Time is short, and the apostles are already readying their trumpets. So why can't you foolish sheep, understand?" Kinzo slammed an old, heavy book against the table over and over. He's going boom, boom. That racket clearly expressed his great displeasure. Holy shit, he's miffed. Kinzo put his spectacles down and flew up from his chair. He spread his arms wide open, as if to sing to a packed opera house, as if appealing to someone, and yelled, "Why? Why is there always something in my way? I would throw it all away. I would offer up everything, and there is only one thing I can ask in repayment. He's crying. Oh, Beatrice, if I could see your smile but one more time, I would plunder the smiles of earth and offer them all up to you. Oh, commanders of the legions of locusts, reap the smiles of the earth. Ah, everything is filthy, everything is irksome. Why must I suffer from this impediment of this most precious of days? Call for Genji. I have no idea what he's yelling about. He's probably lost his mind by now. Kraus-san. Kraus-san, isn't it a bit harsh to say such a thing of your own father? My father is already dead. There's nothing here but a phantom of what father once was. At any rate, as long as he has no intention of coming out, there's nothing we can do. Kinzo-san. Choking coughing continued to pour from the study. I'm going back downstairs. It would be a waste to let the fruits of Goda's prize cooking talent get any colder. It's one of the few things our relatives can look forward to when they come to this house. Kraus spun around. Whoops. He looked at his watch, mumbling and acting as though he had wasted time doing something he knew would be in vain. Genji-san. Father's calling for you. Keep him company. Certainly. Dr. Nanjo, let's go eat. If we stay here any longer, this sweet stench will ruin our sense of taste. Without waiting for Nanjo, Kraus went downstairs. Genji urged Nanjo to go and eat. Nanjo glanced between the study door and Kraus's back as the latter disappeared down the stairs, then let out a deep sigh. Sorry, Genji-san. Please allow me to leave this in your hands. Yes, please leave it to me. Do what you can to avoid giving him alcohol. That's a habit that's far too difficult to break. Is Genji not here yet? Who dares keep Genji from coming? Where's Genji? Call for Genji. Please, allow me to handle the situation from here. Very well, forgive me. Nanjo bowed slightly and descended the stairs. Genji watched him leave, then knocked on the study door. Master, is Genji? Genji! Why have you kept me waiting for so long? You're alone, I trust. Correct. I am alone. Kinzo returned to his seat in the study and pressed an old-fashioned switch on the table. Dude, there's a secret door? That's wild. After a small delay, the heavy sound of a door unlocking could... Oh! He has the door locked. I thought there was like a secret room in the study. Okay, never mind. Kingsville was convinced that his family wanted to make a mess of his study. Or perhaps someone had once opened the window for him. Some sweet air ended up scattering things that, to him, were important research materials, leaving him in a terrible mood. Kinzo had outfitted the room with a formidable lock, preventing anyone from entering without his permission and thereby sealing himself in a jail of his own making. Genji, whom he trusted more than most, was relatively free to enter the room, but even that didn't always hold. If Kinzo was in a bad mood, even Genji wouldn't be able to enter. Anyone else would be limited to holding a conversation through the door, unable to even see Kinzo's face. In most of the time, what they got could hardly be called a conversation. However, this didn't trouble the rest of the family much. After all, it wasn't worth the effort to disturb this aging family head, who was impossible to please and always stayed shut away, immersed in his research. Taking advantage of his refusal to leave his room, they supported his isolation, putting his care entirely into the hands of the servants. Genji, my usual. I'm busy. I want to chase the green fairy. Yes, sir. Genji headed to a corner of the study. There, suspicious-looking bottles boasting venomous colors were on display. They were actually liquor, but considering the shady atmosphere of this room, one might easily suspect them of being some ghastly poison. Inside the study was the mysterious collection of books gathered by Kinzo had grown into a mountain. They were bizarre, ancient, or banned books. That needs a comma. Okay. All of them either forbidden, cursed, or sealed. Do is opening the Akashic records to read his Necronomicon. But if you tried to call them old books, Kinzo would fly into a rage and say, "Call them grimoires!" Of course he's a freaking grimoire Andy. Of course he's a grimoire Andy. An old man just trying to ponder a tome. There was also many mysterious objects that presumably held some meaning with regards to black magic, like candles suspiciously melted and molded into strange shapes. The constellations drawn on a certain celestial globe contained quite a few shapes that would draw puzzled looks from anyone familiar with today's night sky. The carelessly strewn about books contained many illustrations, all of them of a religious or mysterious nature, including some depicting demonically grotesque subjects or bizarre diagrams of various magic circles. I think he's into Western mysticism, which is kind of interesting. Like, he's not into, like, Eastern mysticism. And above all, a sweet, poisonous smell filled the room, profoundly assaulting the eyes and noses of... I'm gonna assume that's, like, the smell of sulfur. Otherwise known as brimstone. Eventually, it must surely make a person go numb and lose their grip on reality. Inside that study, Genji prepared Kinzo's usual drink with a well-trained hand. No one would even think of drinking such an ominous dark green liquid in that complex and ornate glass unless someone first told them it was alcohol. He poured a little into the glass, then he placed a cube of sugar in a strangely shaped spoon and poured water from a pitcher over it. Strangely, when the transparent water was poured, the dark green liquid turned cloudy white. It was a strange optical illusion, as though the water had caused a chemical reaction that made the drink become even more unrecognizable as liquor. Then Genji added original flavors Kinzo loved, fine-tuning its taste. There was no recipe. Its success was measured only by Kinzo's mood swings when he drank it, and it had taken Genji many decades to learn how to do it right. This dude is such a freaking arch alcoholic. Genji placed the glass on a tray and walked over to Kinzo. By this time, Kinzo was gazing out the window. "Yeah, master."
Thank you.
Kinzo had regained his composure and was now unrecognizable as the shouting, screaming, yelling man from a few moments ago. Looking at this man from behind as he tilted his glass and gazed down at the scenery below the window, he projected a sense of dignity and intelligence. To allow Kinzo to set his glass down at any time, Genji motionlessly waited behind Kinzo and to his left, as though he were a living sideboard. Then, without averting his eyes from the window, Kinzo held up the glass. There was only a mouthful remaining. It was not a gesture intended to set it red leather, yellow leather. Okay. It was not a gesture intended to set it upon the tray, but a motion to hand the glass over to Genji. "Drink, my friend." Your words are too kind for me. Drink Chase the Green Fairy with me, Genji. No need for ceremony between us. Drink. Just hallucinate on absinthe with me, please. Genji respectfully received the glass and what is like the ABV of absinthe? I think it's like 90%. It's basically just jet fuel. I don't even really think it's legal anywhere. Some brands can go as high as 90%, but the average is 45 to 74. 45 seems kind of weak. What is absinthe even made of? Oh, an anise. I didn't know that. And wormwood. Oh! That's why he drinks it, because, well, I think wormwood is like a witch thing. So that's why he drinks absinthe. Genji respectfully received the glass and inclined it a little to taste its contents. After that, he gulped it down. I would vomit if I drank that. I would vom. I attempted to imitate your concoction, but no matter how I try, I cannot replicate the taste. The way you make it is pure relish. Thank you. I use onions. Thank you very much. It is the fruit of your guidance, master. Kinzo smiled at his loyal subject. He refused to put aside rank even when asked to. However, he was not making fun of him. His smile relaxed, as though chuckling at a close friend's old, unshakable habit. We've grown old together. I stopped counting the years long ago. It is entirely thanks to you, master, that I've been able to live like this until today. Kinzo gave a faint smile, as if to say he didn't need any flattery. Until now, you have served me exceedingly well. My sons call me eccentric. The servants that were once many have all quit in fear of me. Only you even serve me, even now. Your words are more than I deserve. Life will not last this much longer. My sons are vultures, lazily waiting for my inheritance to fall into their hands. Ellipses. Kraus is a fool who squanders money like water, who throws away 2 gold coins to obtain 1. And that he even has the gall to claim that he's earned money. Ava is a slave to money, who thinks of me as a mere chicken. When I die, she plans to use my bones to make a broth. That dunce Rudolph just wants to fool around with women. Rosa bore the baby of a man who came from nowhere and about whom we know nothing. Jessica is incompetent and uneducated. George is none of what it takes to be a man. What do you mean? That is so mean to George. George is like probably the most out of everybody in this whole fucked up family, he's got his head screwed on the tightest. This dude is LARPing as a southerner. She's fine. Actually, this one's fine. Insane. And Maria is obscene to the eye. She's 9, bro. Why is the Ashiromiya blood so incompetent? Is there no one worthy to inherit the glory I built? Ah, of course I know this is a part of Beatrice's curse. I know it. Yeah, maybe don't make a Faustian bargain, brother. Ha, you golden witch. Are you trying to take revenge against me in this way? If you want to hate me, then do so. If you want to run away, then run. I won't let you go. 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 You belong to me. You must always be in my arms for all my life. You must stay in my birdcage. Oh, wait. Is this supposed to be? I don't know. Oh, no. Okay, I was right. Whispering only to me. Beatrice, why won't you smile back at me? Beatrice! Woo! After howling, Kinzo choked once again. Genji set the tray and glass down and rubbed his master's back. Genji's facial expression did not change. It was always like this. Thank you, my friend. When his seemingly deranged fit subsided, Kinzo regained his composure once again. It was like seeing two different people, a wild Kinzo and a composed Kinzo, living together inside one body. And so, I have decided I cannot bear to spend my dimmed remaining years procrastinating like this. If I have one final coin to bet, then I choose to abandon it to the whims of the demon's roulette. The power of magic is always determined by the risk of the gamble, like visiting a shrine at the hour of the ox in ancient Japanese sorcery to nail a cursed doll to a tree. Magical power is produced specifically because of the risk that it will be seen within the 7 days of the curse it takes. The greater the risk, the stronger the magic power will be. Many miracles that have happened in the myth might be called the crystallization of the shocking magic power. With a low probability of occurrence and astronomical risk. That Moses parted the waters of the Red Sea was not a miracle of God. The risk of that desperate situation, cornered by the soldiers on the Red Sea shores, weighed upon the scales of slaughter and gave birth to that miraculous magic power. If the same thing occurred again on the same scale, the sea would surely fail to part. After all, Moses was able to magnificently summon a miracle engraved on but one of countless, innumerable. Well, Moses did like a bunch of miracles, supposedly. This is the force that can triumph over astronomical odds. Indeed, good fortune that can grasp miracles is magic power itself. I'm gonna go pee. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. And let me make sure my handy dandy be right back thing is back. And is my mic working? It is. Okay, we're good. I'm still absolutely bewildered by the fact that this game's happening in the 80s. To obtain this mighty power, one must face the risk of despair. Those who possess no magical power may call that desperation rather than a bet. However, people who do truly possess magic power can grasp hold that... Oh, I think I need to read this a little more carefully. Because I think this is going to be important later. Okay, he's just like talking about the nature of a Faustian bargain. However, people who truly do possess magic power can grasp hold of that miracle and make the enigma come into being. And if that power exists with me, I'll seize that miracle. I'll have a chance at making the wish I devoted my entire life towards come true. Kinzo looked up to the sky outside the window. He spread his arms as if appealing to someone in the skies. If only I were capable of grasping that miracle. Oh, Beatrice, Beatrice, show me your lovely smile once more. No matter how much time passes, your face does not vanish. I just want to see your smile, that is all. I'll return everything you granted me. I'll return all the glory I've gained since that day. I don't need fortune, prestige, or gold. I'll return everything you gave me. I just want to see your smile. I beg you, Beatrice. Ooh. And he's screaming and he's wailing. He's slumped to the floor because he's chasing that green fairy. He's tearing at the floor with his hands. And Genji had no choice but to wordlessly watch over his master's lamentations. What kind of deal did he make? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the family head's health is not at its best. You seemed extremely sad not to be able to share lunch with you all now that you have gathered for this event that occurs, but once a year... Goda, let the lunch begin. Certainly. I shall begin today's luncheon. Dr. Nanjo, is father's condition really that bad? You can probably hear him screaming. The window... No, it's not. The window is not open, actually. Couldn't he have at least let us see his face? It's more of a problem of mood than physical condition. And for that, there is no medicine I can yeah, give the dude Prozac. Heh, are we talking about his mood again? You've got to be kidding me. We took time out of our schedules during this damn busy autumn season just to come and find out how he's doing. And now he's... Then you should be happy, Rudolph. You now know how he's doing. Or what? Would you rather take my place and try to persuade our ill-humored father to come join us? Are you kidding me? Rudolph shrugged. Apparently, though Rudolph was willing to be indignant at how self-centered his father was, he wasn't particularly disappointed to be spared a face-to-face meeting. Does it seem like his mood will improve before dinner, Nissan? I have no idea. If you want to know, you should ask him directly. Although I think his mood will improve faster if we don't bother him. Genji-san's the only one who can get grandfather out of a funk. It's pretty pathetic, though, making the servants deal with your own parents' bad mood. Jessica, shut the fuck up. She planned for her complaint to be heard only by her cousins, but it had reached even Krause's ears. Scolded, Jessica scowled and turned away, sulking. if he's as cranky as they make him sound, he can't be that terribly sick, right? I mean, they're saying he's in a bad mood, not that he's got no energy, which at least proves he's got his wits about him. It's because grandfather has especially strong willpower. However, that doesn't necessarily mean his body will be able to keep up. Since last year, they keep saying that he has 3 months left. Oh, wow. Okay. If the initial diagnosis was correct, grandfather has been prolonging his life by willpower and absinthe alone. It's right for us to worry about him. Lunch started with the family's head seat still empty, the man who should be sitting there already grown old, and the brilliant glory which he rebuilt the Ishiromiya family in the span of a single lifetime was being forgotten. Even though they were beginning the meal with that seat so empty, no one felt it was odd anymore. Okay, it's now 1:30. Okay. The Oshiromiya Family Conference was held once every year on the first weekend of October. Oh wait, I think some of these are so goofy looking, these original arts. Oh, Kraus didn't go here yet. I'm gonna guess this. I'm gonna make a little prediction that this one's gonna be Beatrice, because I know she's in this game. He looks short. That's so bizarre. Oh, he looks more like a guy in this one. Because this just looks like a dress. Nope, it still is a dress. Poor guy. If a normal family were to hold a so-called family conference, you'd expect nothing more than a reunion of rarely seen relatives who greet each other around buckets of sushi or something. However, part of the family's great fortune had been lent out to grandfather's children, and no one in this family was considered an adult until they had met success in business. So this meeting was literally just a conference. How much of the fortune was invested? What sort of business was conducted? How much profit was earned? As a result, how much of the fortune borrowed from the main family could be repaid? Or possibly, how much more would be borrowed for future business ventures? What lessons they had learned and what they could learn from their mistakes. It seems that topics like these were discussed very seriously in the past. My dad said it was like lying on a bed of nails. Apparently, it used to be a very serious family meeting where people were bathed in scornful and angry voices. And some people even got slapped despite their age. However, that had become a thing of the past. Now, with everyone pursuing their own business ventures and achieving success, it was becoming more normal of a normal yearly get-together. Even so, telling grandfather about recent events was extremely stressful. So while it was nothing more than a simple get-together for us grandchildren, it still was a real stomachache for our parents. The absence of the man who was the source of all this trouble, regardless of the reason, probably made today's lunch taste much more delicious. Jeez, nobody likes this guy. That's hilarious. phrase, while the demon is not around, everyone can relax come to mind. Anyway, let's introduce Jessica's father, whose face I haven't seen for 6 years. The man sitting next to my father's left is his older brother and Jessica's father, Uncle Kraus. Kurausu. It'd be like Kurausu. This name is sure easy to read. Kraus. Kurausu. Alright, let's read his little... Kinzo's first child. As the oldest of the 4 siblings, he leads the family conference. However, the other siblings think he is trying to get all the inheritance for himself, and this further strains the tension between them. Oh, geez, he sucks. He's a real estate investor, and he's put a lot of money into the development of a resort. However, his results have been harshly criticized. He stinks. Oh, that... His dad doesn't like him. One more. I think it's Beatrice. We'll see. Now that we've gotten used to this string of weird names, our perspective is totally skewed. So Kraus doesn't actually seem that bad. It even starts to sound kind of cool. Just like with Aunt Natsuhi, I didn't have many memories of speaking with Uncle Kraus. He had never been one to chat to children, and I felt like he was always talking to the adults, just like Aunt Natsuhi. According to my father's gossip, he was a spiteful and violent man. If what he said is true, Uncle Kraus used to be very domineering from his position as the oldest sibling, and was despised by all the other siblings. Though despite that, those siblings all seem to be chatting happily together. Oh well, even their relationship was bad when they were children. Sometimes when people grow up and live apart from each other, their relationships change. That's probably what this was. After all, they all had children about the same age. By sharing the same family environment... Ooh, that picks up on the microphone. That's like a little ASMR. By sharing the same family environment, they probably profited by exchanging opinions. Maybe because of that, a short while ago, the circle of parents began to discuss the exams Jessica and I would be taking. Jessica, in order to escape questions about exams from my father on her left, purposely faced right while firing off a rapid series of comments, not giving him any chance to get a word in. Moving on, let's look at the end opposite from Kraus. Holy smokes. And the others. In the very last seat at the table, an old gentleman with a sturdy physique sat facing Kairi-san. This was my first time meeting him. Nope, it's just the doctor. I was so wrong. Kinzo's attending physician and longtime friend. Do I have any tips? I don't have any tips. I want to get a tip. He once ran a hospital in Niijima, but it turned it over to his sons and now enjoys his old age in peace. Now that Kinzo's constant suspicion has reached extraordinary heights, Nanjo is one of the very few people he trusts. Thanks to Nanjo's big-hearted nature, he's been able to continue his friendship with Kinzo despite the latter's tendency to fly into a rage at the slightest provocation. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I want the old... Oh. There we go. I heard he used to own his huge clinic on the nearby island of Niijima, but he turned it over to his son and began living a life of leisure in his old age. He had no grandfather since the very beginning, when the mansion was first constructed on this island, and had built up a relationship over several decades. I thought at first the two of them might have gotten to know each other through grandfather's suspicious hobbies, but it seems he was actually grandfather's chess partner. I see. That kind of hobby seems very like our grandfather. Oh wait, what? What hobby? Oh, chess. I see. That kind of hobby seems very like our grandfather, what with his love of all things Western. Nanjo's probably the only person who could enter Rokenjima despite being neither a family member nor a servant. He looked like a calm old gentleman as he listened to the discussion between Kairi and the other women who sat near to him. Considering how long he stayed by the side of our short-tempered grandfather, his generous heart was probably nothing to laugh at. Even still, if he was a family doctor, having anyone outside the Ushiramiya family attend the family conference was a little odd. It made me think of that grandfather's condition might worsen so much it'd be a major topic of discussion at today's conference. After all, George said something like that just a second ago. Something about how we've been getting continuous reports since around last year that grandfather didn't have long to live. It's nasty to think about, but considering how rich grandfather is, at the time of his death his wealth will be suddenly released, probably along with a fair share of our parents' stomach acid. And it'll lead to ulcers for everyone. That's oddly specific. After all, this sort of thing just gets messier when there's more wealth to be divided. Amen. There's a good chance we'll be talking about stuff like that at the family conference. Still, it's not like it's got anything to do with us kids. Finally, even though he hasn't shown up, let me introduce our grandfather. The person who should be sitting at the incipient's chair is Ushiramiya Kinzo. It really sucks. Everyone else in the family has these weird names, but he's got a perfectly normal one himself. If only his name were written Kinzo as this, but he let us call him Goldsmith or something, I'd totally freak out. I guess that's what Kinzo means. Oh, maybe that's like I think he made a Faustian bargain with the witch to, get wealth, prestige, whatever. So maybe that goldsmith thing is like a kind of reference to that, making money or gold. As you probably can guess by now, he's a frightening person with an extremely short temper, oh yeah. I'm one of his grandchildren, not a son, and I haven't seen him since elementary school. Thanks to that, I have no memory of being beaten myself, but our parents were apparently raised with an iron fist. That earlier conversation between my dad and Uncle Kraus about who should go convince grandfather to come down seems pretty darn funny once you know their background. Track change. Oh god, the Showa era. Aren't we still in the Showa era? Yeah. We are still in the Showa era. Until the Meiji Restoration and the Taisho era, the Ushiramiya family was great and prosperous. They owned several spinning mills, making them rich enough to double over laughing every day as the money kept rolling in. Incidentally, Grandfather was a member of a branch family, had pretty much nothing to do with the main family. Not only was he way down on the list of people who could inherit the headship, but he hardly had any contact with the glamorous main family. However, during the Great Kanto earthquake in the year Taisho 12, the mansion owned by the Ushiramiya family in Odawara was flattened. The spinning mills in Tokyo were all burned down in a huge fire, and the Ushiramiya family lost most of its wealth and family members in an instant. So there's gotta be magic here. So once they started trying to figure out who the successor to the Ushiramiya family should be, they apparently found no one remaining except Kinzo and his branch family. In Kinzo's later reminiscences, he refers to this as good fortune so great that it overturned fate. With that, Grandfather's boring, everyday life did a 180. He was entrusted with reviving the dying Ushiramiya family, which had lost nearly all its wealth. However, just because he'd been entrusted with this task doesn't mean he couldn't accomplish it. Apparently, those around him weren't really expecting much. However, this is when Grandfather began displaying his extraordinary talent and good luck. Grandfather used all of the family's remaining wealth, as well as everything from the hair on his head and toenails as collateral, in order to borrow a massive amount of money. Once he built up a gigantic war chest, he immediately invested in business. It was like something tumbling down on a hill on a bike without any brakes, and then jumping on a neighbor's bike, and then another one, just like some crazy street performance. I'll bet everyone who thought Grandfather had no business ability whatsoever. Oh wait, I misread that. I'll bet everyone thought Grandfather had no business ability whatsoever. However, after several miracles and turns of good luck, with coincidences piling up every day and every chance taken advantage of, he was suddenly in control of powerful connections with occupying forces. In that time, MacArthur, which I'm not spelling right, it's MacArthur and the GHQ. What is that? Oh, Supreme Command of the Allied Powers. Grandfather, in a twinkle of an eye, began succeeding in business under the protection of the occupying forces, quickly becoming rich. By this point, it's probably safe to say that information, not luck, saved the day. He must have made some seriously deep connections with the occupying forces. Grandfather knew beforehand about emergency demands that would be made for the Korean War. No, it was more than that. He must have predicted the emergency demands from the very beginning. When he started investing, it wasn't a freaking... Did it really take luck to know that war was coming in Korea? No, come on. I'm reading about history right now. Fuck, I gotta stop. It's too much. It's too addictive. Only a very limited number of the super rich played the money game, made an easy profit. Most of the citizens remained poor until like the 60s and 70s. In other words, Grandfather was a member of this extremely lucky group of winners. I'm pretty sure this all happened during the year Showa 25 or so. The Great Kanto earthquake happened in Taisho 13. So that means Grandfather was able to revive the near-dead Ushiramiya family in only about 20 years to an even higher level than it had been before. With that, you'd think he'd revive the main family, Odawara, but for some reason he went and did something crazy, as buying an entire small island in the Izu Archipelago. Where is the Izu Archipelago? Oh! I didn't even know anybody would live on these islands. That's cool. Buying an entire island is not something you can ordinarily do today. However, Grandfather was clever. He contacted the General HQ and applied for an establishment of a marine resource base. He acquired this island as a business property, then tossed that project aside and claimed it as his own plot of land. After the war, there were prevention measures against food shortages, and having the sponsorship of the GHQ meant nobody could oppose him. From what I've heard, the Tokyo metropolis of that day offered this land practically for free. Later, Tokyo made difficulties by telling Kinzo to return the land, but the pushy GHQ intervened. Anyway, it seems under-the-table bribes did their work well. In the end, the city gave up in frustration. Grandfather, with considerable skill and good luck, managed to weather the stormy seas of that period, obtaining a vast fortune in his own island. Of course, it wasn't all luck. He was obsessed with all things Western, which helped him cultivate his English skills. He was able to use this to his advantage and sink his teeth into the GHQ. A mansion was built on the island soon after. This mansion, in fact. Grandfather, with his love of Western style, made this once an uninhabited island a canvas upon which he could realize his dreams to his heart's content. He now had the Western mansion of his dreams, overflowing with emotion and atmosphere, in a beautiful garden featuring all sorts of roses. And he had a private beach where nobody other than himself would ever be permitted to leave a footprint. This would be a dream come true for any boy. After that, he made good use of his huge fortune, becoming a large stockholder in the extremely stable iron and steel industry, and was able to live an easy and comfortable life just using the dividends. Well, he's just that incredible. This kind of person usually has the ability to foresee and predict the future, or at least that is how they're portrayed after the fact. But Grandfather denies all of that, repeatedly saying he was blessed with extraordinary luck. Anyway, even a lord like that can't help but grow increasingly eccentric when locked up alone on an island, where all his dreams are made real. Everyone knows that he had a Western obsession from the start. But none of our parents really know when his bizarre black magic hobby began. Did his love of black magic begin way back when he became fascinated with everything Western? Or did his miraculous strength and good luck while reviving his family cause him to feel a mysterious power in himself? At some point, grandfather began to make the research of black magic his life work. He filled his study up with suspicious books, chemicals, and magical items that he became increasingly bizarre. He would have loved Aleister Crowley. From what I've heard, those around him warmly watched over him, figuring that someone who had achieved success in his life had the right to do as he pleased, but there's no way that's true. They were probably creeped out, thinking, that's disgusting, I don't want to get involved. Anyway, that agitated period was an age of big gambles, with both opportunities and risks. Let's say grandfather was born in this time period. He would have had no opportunities and would have probably advanced like a chess piece from mandatory education to college at a leisurely pace. Never becoming more than an average salaryman. If that happened, he'd probably have sat somewhere happily talking behind his boss's back. No, not in a fancy dining hall like this, more like at a table in some bar. Then again, I'll bet this family conference would be a whole lot more exciting if that were the case. Okay, that's enough about the old geezer. More importantly, let's talk about this incredible lunch. I think I'm done. My voice is all worn out from Umineko. Goodbye.